So let's talk a little more about the Rockers. I really enjoyed your matches with some of the bigger teams like the Powers of Pain, the Twin Towers. You guys sold so well. It was just such fun matches. Would you
You
agree
had
with
no
that?
choice. This guy's a
Right.
6'4", 300 pounds of muscles. You ain't got no chance, no choice but to sell. When they give you one of them forearms, like I'm selling, no more, no more. Okay, wait, let me finish selling.
It was you at SummerSlam when Akeem gave you that crazy clothesline. I believe you kind of flipped over,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, the spiral flip thing.
Yeah, that actually hurt. Or did you actually flip on your own?
Well, you try to everything you do, you try to get your momentum to go with you in the right way. That it takes off some of
Hmm.
the shock. So that's even with landing. We learn to land, to roll down or smack your hands off to the side, flop your feet because it takes some of it. It's something to do with the energy, how you disperse the energy. Uh, you want to be like limber as you can, like a water hose, as
Okay.
compared to a brick. If you throw a water hose on the ground, it's going to be okay. If you throw a brick down, it's going to break. So it's just kind of that principle, if that made any sense.
It actually does, yes. Be a water hose, don't be a brick. Very good.
Yeah,
You just made that up on the fly.
pretty much.
Very good. Excellent.
It's
Excellent.
just got to do with the limber. You know what? A lot of people, they fall down when they're drunk and they don't get hurt. They can fall off the second floor when they're drunk. And sometimes,
Okay.
you're like, they're going to be dead. And no, they get right up because they're so limber. They land and
Makes
it's
sense.
like there's a water hose just whop,
Okay.
disperses the energy out. Whereas when you're scared, you stiffen up, you're like a brick. Wow.
Are you indirectly saying you were wasted during SummerSlam against the Twin Towers when you took that clothesline?
Oh, it was the night before it was. Shawn and I were
Okay.
nervous as hell. So I didn't tell you. So that was Trump Towers. I was
Okay.
say Trump. That was the Trump Towers. But yeah, we did a photo op with him, and he come right up and he came with me. He was big fans of y'all, and shook the hand. Like I said,
Yeah.
we've met. So we had already at that point. It even met. I think at that point he'd already met Bill Clinton once.
Okay.
Who also became president.
Yes.
I've signed autographs for two different presidents.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. Hell, I signed autographs for him. But
Nice.
Bill, we met in a gym in Arkansas. It was like a
In a
upbeat,
gym.
like
So
a
did he approach you?
yeah. Well, the manager came over and said, "Hey, Bill would like to be. He's the governor of the state." And so
Really
I
cool.
was like, oh, cool, okay. Shawn was, you see, that was the kind of things he was standoffish about. Like, well, we're working out right now. It's like, shit, man, take a damn second and say hello. you know,
You want to smack him, but hello, he's your future president.
yeah. And Bill was nice as hell, man. I mean, I
Yeah,
liked his personality. He's like, I can see why everybody was charmed by him because he is. He's just the nicest guy in the world.
definitely. They had a
Just
great
then later,
personality.
the next thing I see, he's president. I'm like, damn, man. But But so with Trump there, we're at the place and he says that. And again, Shawn, I think looked at DT. We call him DT sometimes, Donald Trump. And he
Really?
looked at DT like like just another guy who owns a casino. So, I mean, that's sort of like he was asking for examples,
Hmm.
earlier about, what kind of shit Shawn would do back then. Like I said, he's,
Yeah.
a changed man now.
Yeah, he
And
definitely
he's,
is. Yeah.
but
And
so,
he's apologized to a lot of people too. So.
yeah. But so anyway, we signed it, actually it was for, we took a picture, which man, I know Shawn got his. I never got mine. I think Shawn got both of them. But
Okay. With Trump?
yeah, I'd love to have that on my wall, picture with Trump there at his
Yeah.
place before he had orange hair. I don't know what the hell he's tanning with. That spray tan in the can, they call it, but it ain't. And you can always tell because his eyes, he looks like a raccoon. His eyes right here be real because they cover you when they spray you with it. And
Okay.
sometimes it looks like he only gets his head because you can see the white right around his neck. So, damn, you're the president, man. Just get the shit done right. But So that night, Shawn and I were nervous as hell because we knew we had to work. A big boss man was like 6'6", 350 pounds.
Yeah.
Akeem's like 6'7", 375 pounds. Here's our little 6 foot, 220-pound asses. What the hell are we going to do with this? And it's our debut to WrestleMania. It's the World Series. It's the Super Bowl. And we got monsters of the Midway. What are we going to do with this? We were nervous. What we did? We drank our ass. But me and my girl at the time, Raylynn, went down and did some gambling. I love the blackjack and the craps table, and sometimes roulette just for fun. Because that's the girls like that. Because I don't know why. But we're down there. It was like midnight, close to midnight. And see, this is another thing with Trump. I mean, he doesn't have to come down at 12, 1 o'clock at night. And he's checking his casino out, making sure it's being run right, making sure it's proper, making sure it's clean. I mean, I got nothing but respect for the man. And I'm going to get around to telling you what amazed me by him. And he came up, and I was with Raylynn. She had long blonde hair, great.
This was your girlfriend at the time, correct?
Yes,
Raylynn?
at the time.
Okay.
And I see him, we see eyes. He's a good 50 feet, coming my way. And, smiled and he smiled. And so I'm like, no, he does recognize, he does know who I am. I thought upstairs was just, you're just shooting the shit. Like, hey, I'm a big fan of yours. And he walks right up to me. He goes, how are you doing, Marty? I said, I'm doing good. How are you? He goes, no, I'm doing good. How are you doing with the games? I said, yeah, win some, lose some. He smiled. He goes, yeah, I know. When I introduced Raylynn, and they shook hands, and he looked over at the blackjack guys. The craps table where we just walked off, and he goes, give him a 500 marker. And I didn't know what that meant though, and I'm like, I didn't know what to say. We're like, what did you just do to me? Did you bar me from the table? But he said, well, good luck with everything. I'll see you tomorrow. And then he walked off, and I asked the pit boss guy there at the craps table, what's a 500 bar? He goes, well, basically gave you $500. He goes, you go there and get some chips with it.
So he took care of you.
Yeah, and it was just because it was played. It ain't like I was in there trying to become rich. I was just having fun,
Sure,
That's where you really got to. So you can't, unless you're a shark, you don't go to casinos to win money. You go there to have fun. And
right.
but so I told Raylynn, I said, let's play one hand and then cash and take the rest of the money. We'll play one $5 and take the rest.
You made a profit.
Well, no, we played it. We played it for a while, and we still had some for the next day left over. But okay, that was WrestleMania 5. 2 years later, at WrestleMania 7, he's with Marla Maples.
Okay.
And I don't think they ever got married. I think they were pretty serious. And God, she was such a bitch that day though. WrestleMania 7 and out in LA. Now remember, it's 2 years later. I haven't seen him. And
were you guys good enough friends where you would communicate, or just you talked a lot when you saw each other?
Well, later on, at this point, this is our beginnings. This is how it all started. Okay. And 2 years later, at WrestleMania 7, we're at the big walkway on the outside where all the dressing rooms. It goes around the entire building. Most arenas are like that. That where you watch TV, you see the sports basketball players running through the dress.
Definitely.
That back little loop around. And I seen him coming towards me, and I'm going. I got a different girl with me, Colleen. Girl, I just met her that day, Pat Tanaka. Actually flew her in, and then told me to watch after her. And I'm like, well, why don't you flew her in here? Why don't you? She was beautiful too, long blonde hair, great, nice body. But he was more interested in other things. That he didn't really want to spend time with her because he was partying too hard on other things back then. He was caught in that trap. And so me and her We ended up dating out of that for
Oh
a
wow.
little. Yeah, I really liked her, but it was just bad timing or something. But
I see.
anyway, so I'm walking now. I'm walking with her. 2 years later, and here comes Trump. He smiles, and we're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he looks at me, and he looks at her, and hey, and he goes, "You always got a pretty girl under your arms." And then he shook her hand, and what amazed me at first, if you didn't see somebody but once, a girl once, long blonde hair, 2 years later, you see, I mean, they look, almost could be sisters, long blonde hair. And he knew it was a different girl. I mean, I thought that was impressive. Like,
Oh, he
wow.
remembered that. Okay, wow. So yeah, he definitely paid attention to you.
That's attention to detail. That you 2 years
Absolutely.
later, you see a person one time and you got a look
Okay.
alike 2 years later and you know it's not the same person.
Oh wow.
But,
Good attention to detail.
but
Yeah.
here's where we had fun with it and became pretty good friends. That up till recent we still talk. It's hard now with him up there in the White House.
So you guys kind of kept communication until he became president for the most part?
Yeah. And I think even once he tried to get a hold of me, but it was, man, you got to go through a security code.
Wait, no, he called you. He called you. You still have to go through the security code?
I'm assuming that's why the damn, whatever it was, the CIA or Secret Service, whoever the fuck it was running down questions on me. I'm like, God damn, y'all called me.
Okay. Confirming you're the real Marty Jannetty.
Y'all called me and I got to answer all this security shit. And then something happened and it didn't. But anyway, so where we bonded a little bit was after, I went back to the dressing room. He was in the dressing room and I went up to him and I went, man, you got me in trouble. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, that was my wife. And you said, and he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I mean, he was so apologetic. And I'm like, I couldn't hold it. I busted out laughing. And he goes, you got me. He goes, but, and this is another thing. He goes, but I learned something right there. I'll never do something like that again.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I love the guy to death. And then we kind of buddy, when you can prank on one of your boys, then you can love on them, I don't mean sexually, but, you can love on them. You can become buddies now because you can play with each other. You can rib each other, And he took it well. Marla was there, and it was for whatever reason she was being a bee that day.
Being like that in general, or specifically to you?
Oh, to everybody. Not in fact, she wasn't mean to me at all. I just saw her how she was treating everybody else, and she was just complaining. And the Nasty Boys had come in and won the world tag title that night, and. She was to interview him afterwards, and she was being such a bitch. Oh, Knob says, "Watch this." He told me we were all friends, the Nasties and Shawn and I, and he's watching. We're watching them do the interview like after they won the match and they're happy. They get a champagne bottle and they shake it up and they pop the top and they just pour it over her head. That was one of the things, she was making sure her hair was so perfect. And
that's why she was mad.
Do what?
No wonder why she was being a bee, like you were saying.
Yeah, well, and when they got her on that one though, she was just, her hair got all stringy and they're jumping up and down and then chopping each other. I think Stags chopped her a little higher than her boobs, like up here, but he chopped her and they're just going crazy and high fiving. It was one of the best scenes ever.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it was live, so they didn't get to cut it out. We'll have to go back and see. I imagine if it's on tape or video somewhere, it's been edited. But
I want to say I've seen though before. Yeah, I'll have to check again. But I want to say I've actually seen what you just said, but there might be two different versions.
Yeah, wow. If they're live, because WrestleMania is live. You can't, we do have what we call pre-tapes, where you film it and then you show it during the match like it's live.
Yeah.
But it was actually taped, before. And but that was a live for WrestleMania.
That's crazy.
Do you know what else happened that night? Oh, Willie Nelson was there. Willie's such a nice guy. Me and him sat We'll sit and watch a couple matches together. And
did you get high with Willie?
No, I didn't. The Nasty Boys did. They went on, so they were a big fan of wrestling, huge. I think he sang the national anthem that night. I'm not sure, but
I believe so. I went off the top of my head, but I do believe you're correct. Yes.
Yeah. But afterwards, he took Knobs and Sags on his tour bus, and I think somebody else, but it was them two. And they were burning and drinking a little bit, and then Knobs said, "Hey Willie, sing a song for us." He's like, "No, guys, no, man, we're just having fun right now. Sing Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground. Come on, man." And Willie, he's kind of getting embarrassed. Like, no, man, no, we just on the. He said, "I'll give you the belt. You'll give me the tag team champion with Sag. I'll give you the belt. You'll sing it." Willie goes, "Are you serious?" And he says, "Yes." And so Willie sang a couple of verses, right? Gave him the belt. The next day, wherever the hell we were, Seattle or wherever, the Nasty Boys had to defend the title. First title defense. And they only got one belt. And Vince is like, "Where's the other belt?" And we all were like, "Got to go see Willie. Willie's the tag team champion right now with Sag." You gave him the belt? They just won it. And you gave the belt away.
Oh my.
They told him at first, they told us, Knobs, go get it back from him. And then we were all like, "No, man, no. We'll pitch in something. Don't do that. That's real cheesy." The guy give him the belt and they call him back, "Hey, you got to give it back." Don't do that. What does it cost? A couple $100? Shit.
Man, we got to update Willie Nelson's Wikipedia page. I need to say that he's a former tag team champion.
Yeah. And he probably was better than Knobs. I just played Knobs. I love you, brother. Me and Knobs and Sag and Shawn all four lived together in a one-bedroom apartment at one point in Nashville.
One bedroom?
Yeah.
One bedroom. Come on.
At first, there was two beds in the bedroom. Knobs on one bed and across. Now it was a small bedroom. I mean, they could hold hands and still be in each other's bed. It was that small. But we would try to get them drunk because when they get drunk, you guys, y'all can sleep in the bedroom tonight. Because otherwise, it was the couch in the floor. Me and Shawn would alternate the front room. One sleeps the couch, one gets the floor. And then when the guys would come in town from out of town, like Kurt Hennig and everybody, Kurt renamed it the House of the Wayward, Home for Wayward Wrestlers, because everybody'd spend the night over there. We'd have 4, 5, 6 of the boys and us, 8 or 9 people sleeping all over the place. So you go to the refrigerator and you got to hide up a couple piles.
Wow.
And but it was all. Imagine that party.
Party I wanted to go to, yeah.
Well, we what we would have to do every time. We have to tape our eyebrows with Band-Aids because everybody, whoever passed out, they would always shave the eyebrows. First one to
that was oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say to make yourself look like you're awake, like a Tom and Jerry trick or something.
No, so you woke up with eyebrows. This hat sucks too, covering it up.
Oh, come on. You're gonna put another hat on. So we're talking about WrestleMania 7. That's when you guys took on Haku and the Barbarian, managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that? How was your relationship with Shawn and the Rockers then?
Oh, we were good. At that point, we were still good. Couple scenes, couple incidents. Really just one where we had to fight in Denver.
Okay.
And then after we kind of made up, we made up. But it was just never that same closeness was never there again. And plus, it had a lot to do with Shawn wanted to go on off into singles, which was fine. I didn't care about that, but I just wanted him to tell me, don't spring it on me, so I can prepare to do wherever I'm gonna go next, what I'm gonna do next.
So he was up front. He did say he wanted to go to singles, but he did it earlier than you expected. Is that how it was, kind of?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because we talked about it. We said, don't let them break us up. We'll break ourselves because we've been, we saw that they had a tendency which is always good. You know, at the end of a tag team run, to get more out of the same guys, you turn one on the other. You know, but we wanted to be the ones to say that when to split us up because we had built the Rockers from ground up. We did. They did.
Yeah.
So we were the Midnight Rockers in AWA, and we built that product, you know, from like I say, ground up. We had added to it and got it better and better and better and better. And then we didn't want somebody else coming by and saying, okay, that's enough. Y'all turn on each other. No, we'll be a little bit in charge of ourselves. You know, I mean, if it made sense, it made sense. Well, we didn't want anybody coming and saying, we've had enough of y'all. Y'all turn on each other. Well, maybe we're not ready for that yet. Maybe do we need to go to WCW? Because we're not ready to split up yet.
I wish you guys would have stayed together at least another year. I mean, I would like to see you guys maybe get a 6-month tag team reign.
And that was the thing. We never had to run as champions. We won the belts one time, and the rope had broke. It was a two out, 3 fall thing. And
that makes no sense. I know the story, but that makes no sense why they did that. Why does it count? I mean, come on.
Yeah, there was some. I think it was more to it. But I ain't gonna get
what do you mean? What do you mean by that? More to it? How so?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, Shawn and I were still young and cutting up and doing too much. And right after I look like I got a toupee. You know what Kurt Hennig used to do when it was obvious somebody's wearing a toupee? He'd walk up to next to him and he goes, "Hey, Shawn, look at this. You see the price? That's way too much toupee." Right in the person's face.
And you were good friends with Kurt Hennig, weren't you?
Yes.
He came to your aid a couple times when you had issues, WE or with Shawn.
Yeah, he did. Damn, really nothing to do with his hair. I'm gonna have to cut it bald like Shawn.
or like Nick.
Or like you.
There you go.
But Shawn, did you do the same thing? Shawn started going in the back, you know, with like a little ball spot, and I think he just said hell with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That was you too?
Kind of. I mean, I don't know that anybody grows up saying they want to be bald originally. There's usually a reason for it. But
well, mine is because I can't do shit with this mop.
I mean, I've counted you rotate between about 7 different hats, but
yeah, just
your hair looks fine, I promise.
You ain't the one that got to wear it. Look what you did to yours.
Right. I guess I'm not one that can be giving advice on hair.
You take the hair down here and turn it up on here, though, you would have.
There you go. That's great advice.
That's what Arsenio Hall told Bad News Brown one time. You know, you ought to take your hair down here and put it up on here.
So when we get into the split of the Rockers, you're on the Barbershop. You were well aware of everything that was going to happen then, correct? But you weren't real on board with them doing the split?
We kind of had an idea because actually Shawn and I talked about it for a while after we found out that we was going to be splitting. And Shawn likes to go, I think he put it in his book, but I know he said it on a few interviews. Back then, I don't know what he would say now. He likes to say he just don't remember stuff because of all the partying and all the drugs we might have done back then. But, him and I talked about it together, but then he goes and says, well, something I came up with, of course, something he came up with, and it was for the Nasty Boys. But, the Nasty Boys had already gone to WCW when we started talking about that.
Right.
Anyway, we had gone over a few things, a few ways of doing it, and, and adjusted. And that's just like our matches, hey, what if we did this, we did that. Oh, what if we took that out and did this? Tinker with it until you get it to where you want it. And, but when we was actually out there, one of the things that was odd was, I'll say odd, it was wrong, was, first of all, the super kick. I'd heard all the other guys tell me how, gosh, damn, Shawn lays them in there. He gets them. So they should look good. They look good when you lay them in.
But it's actually a real kick.
Yeah, I mean, but when he hit me, boy, he got me underneath the chin. I raised up. I was on my tippy toes. So like, gosh, damn, I didn't even feel the window. I was
Oh man.
almost out. And I
Huh.
don't know that he laid it in on purpose, that hard. I don't know that, or that, like all the other guys have said, he's stiff with that kick, man. But when he threw me through the window, it's supposed to have been sugar glass.
Okay, but it
And,
wasn't, right?
no, it was real shit. We found out because when I went to the back afterwards, the production
Mm.
dude comes over and he's looking me over and he's like, "You're okay, but you're okay." And you're okay. I was bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had some cuts from where I was laying over the seal or whatever you call it that surrounds the window frame, laid
Yeah.
on the frame.
Yeah.
And, I had some little bitty shards, went in my stomach, my little belly, down lower belly.
Ouch. Okay. Wow.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad at all. But I was like, "Why? What's the matter?" Because he was so relieved. I'm like, "Why? What's up? Would you?" He goes, I said, "Look, man," he goes, "don't get mad at me. And I hope you won't tell on me." I said, "What?" He goes, "We had 3 window panes. 2 of them were sugar glass in case y'all had to do a retake, in case it didn't go so good.
Okay.
They had a spare
Yeah.
one." Because there was one real, actual, the regular one they use,
Yeah.
glass. He goes, "Nobody marked them." He
Oh
said, he
man.
said, he said, "So we had to take a chance. We had a 2 out of 3 chance of getting it right. We got it wrong."
Oh, poor
No,
Marty.
I was like, at the time, I'm like, man, this ain't nothing, no harm, no foul. Don't worry about it, brother. You're all right. Well, I went home and when I actually watched the video and I seen that, I mean, it come down to like a sliver looking thing that and is dangling, shaking. If that would have fallen, it'd have got me right in the back of the neck. It might have been
Ouch.
over.
Ouch. That's like I want to say that's
Yeah,
a scene on Ghost.
yeah,
Patrick
right.
Swayze. Yeah, where it actually
Head pop
ended
off.
somebody. Yeah. So can we acknowledge for 1 minute? I understand it was kind of a bad situation when the Rockers broke. Can we acknowledge for 1 minute Bobby the Brain Heenan saying the act of cowardice where you jump through the window?
It is the most hilarious, one of the best lines.
So
That,
random, but it.
yeah, he was the best, man. I love Bobby.
Absolutely.
He, uh, he used to make the dressing rooms fun, man, because he on the road 300 days. It gets monotonous, and
Yeah.
seeing the same guys and you're wrestling and you're sore and you're beat up and you're tired. And, for the ones that had families, they ain't seen their family. And, it's just, you get run down after about 20 straight days on the road, that's when you start getting run down. Some guys sooner, I was able, I never wanted to come off the road. I think the longest Shawn and I did was, I know we did a 60-day run, but it seems like we did a longer one than that. But I know we did 60 straight, and man, guys were snapping at the 40 point. So, remember Jacques Rougeau telling me him and Raymond were sitting across the aisle from each other,
Okay.
and they just got their glass of ice, and they would take one cube out at a time, just throw it, would throw one back and throw it, and the stewards and people just looking at them like, because they kind of just, zombified, and they just thought that was what they should do, just toss ice. One time he said, Billy Jack Haynes, after about 30, 40 days, was threatening that he was going to jump out the back of the plane. The door, the emergency
Okay.
exit, he
Yeah.
was sitting back there he was going to open it and jump out. I mean,
Oh my
guys
goodness.
snap. It's brutal. I mean, that's some
Yeah.
rock and roll bands. I mean, when they tour, they take a couple of days off, 3 days off in between the next. Sometimes, they'll hit city after city after city, but after a few days, they take 4 or 5 days off, and
Yeah.
it's brutal. It's brutal. And then when you're stupids like me and Shawn and a couple of other guys partying every night, you just doubling it up.
So the Rockers are broke up. What I don't understand is you guys, I thought, had an incredible match. I know they had there's a rumor that you guys were intoxicated, but why'd you only have the Intercontinental title for 2 weeks? That makes no sense.
Me,
You, yes.
3 weeks. Give me all my time,
I
man.
apologize. It was 3 weeks. My
You
apologies.
know, I had 2 titles, and the combined time was 4 weeks because me and the 1, 2, 3 kid won the
Uh,
world tag
tag
title.
team.
title, and then we lost it back on Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden. But 3 weeks.
Why not make it longer? You were doing good. A lot of fans were excited. That was a great rivalry. I don't see why.
Well, you know how you said Kurt came to my aid a couple times.
Yes.
Shawn, when we did our match at Royal Rumble, Vince wasn't happy with it. So he said, I didn't. What reason was because we had been doing it. You know, you go around and fine tune your matches before a big pay-per-view at house shows. And the night before at Denver, we had probably, to this day, best match I've ever had. And I'm sure Shawn would say, you know, because he's had many good ones since. And I have too, but there was just something magic that night. And Denver was our city. It was where we started, you know, as Midnight Rockers. They loved us. They considered us theirs. And, man, it was magic that night. We did 20 minutes, a jump start. You know, which means you're full speed from the get-go. You're not locking up and getting a headlock and building up the pace. We jump-started it. And for 20 minutes, we did not stop. And for 20 minutes, the McNichols Arena, which holds about 15, 17, somewhere in there, 1,000 people, stayed on their feet the entire time of that match. And they talk about the air in Denver being real thin and, you know, it's hard to breathe. We never had that problem, ever. We just thought, I can't tell the difference until that night. That night, we looked at each other around the 15-minute mark, and we were like, man, if we don't like 90s, we're like, yeah, I feel it. And we were just about gassed out. And that's when the energy of the crowd pulled us through the last 5 minutes. And that's in sports. That energy is real. That's why there's home field advantage. It's not just, you know, because you're playing in the city. That crowd, that energy is circled around you that they're sending out. It all meets right there where you are, and it pumps you up. You feel it. You vibrate. One time in Hulk Hogan ran our match in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. So that's about 17,000, 18,000 people. And we, you know, had them cheering good for us. When Hulk did the run out, oh my God! I thought me and Shawn looking at each other. You feel that? Because it's like a current. You can feel electricity going through your body. You remember how you used to stick the old 9-volt batteries on your tongue, and it vibrates?
Right.
That's how your body does when you get that much energy from the crowd. It's a tingle like that through your body, and that's energy. That's energy, and
it's all that momentum going.
Yeah, and that energy got Shawn out through that last 5 minutes of that match in Denver. And that match ended up, it was the best match I've ever had. And I think Shawn would say the same for him, even though he's had great ones with great people.
Absolutely. Incredible match.
We went to the back, and, man, I was out of gas. And you know what's good when the boys are all by the curtain and they're cheering you, standing over from the boys is the best you can do in this business. And they were all cheering us. And I was just wanting to lay down and find somewhere to crawl under the table.
Thank you guys, but let me go rest.
Yeah, and I'm laying there like, puffing and puffing, and Blackjack Lanza was the agent. He's on the phone with Vince because they had to report back. Back then, they would report back as a payphone. Didn't have cells yet. He's out in the hallway, and I hear him talking to Vince. And he was like, "You're not going to believe this match tomorrow. This should be the main event. There's nobody I've never seen in my 3-year career. I've never seen a match like this. You're not going to believe it." And so Vince was all excited about that. You know, let me say this too. I was looking over to see where the Blackjack was because I was hearing him so plain. And I see a table across the hallway. Shawn's underneath it, catching his breath. Man, we left it all out in the ring. We didn't bring none back with us. But it was the next day for it was Royal Rumble. They got us together and they said, we're going to interject Sherry Martel. She's going to come out and do this at this spot, that at that spot. And at the end, now this just threw off the entire rhythm of everything we just built, you know, for the last 4 or 5 days. Now you're changing it because Sherry's going to interject here. The flow was not going to be the same now. And it wasn't. And there was a couple spots in there where Shawn kind of couldn't remember the next thing, and because it just threw us off. Because we was just going. We didn't have to think about it. But now we got to think about it. Like, okay, what we're supposed to do when Sherry did that? And, I helped him once or twice, and he helped me once or twice, remember. So the match was over, and we go in the back, and here comes Vince. And we were expecting a great match, guys, because that's all we ever heard from him.
Sure.
And he comes up and goes, I was very disappointed, very disappointed. And we were like, huh? we never expected, we never heard that.
Yeah.
And we're dumbfounded just staring at him. He goes, I heard this match was going to blow the whole card away. He was going to steal the show. And quite frankly, that wasn't it. Very disappointing. Oh, man, it broke my heart. And then Shawn's too. But I go walking off, and Shawn says, Vince, can I talk to you? And I'm thinking, well, what's he going to talk to him about that I can't hear? He walked off with Vince. And evidently, Curt Hennig found out later that Shawn had told Vince that I was forgetting everything. He had to leave me by the nose, and he just couldn't do nothing with me. That wasn't even close to true. I had to help him half the time remember the shit. About half the time, a couple places. And, same with me, a couple places. Because the Sherry thing just threw our whole damn thing apart.
Right.
But so anyway, the next day, Vince let me go. He called me, and it was that was Monday. It was a Monday Night Raw, I guess, because it was the next day after the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And Vince called me in his office. He goes, I got to let you go. And I had just gone through some shit where I was on house arrest for 6 months. And I just got back. I hadn't even been back. And that was a screw job. And it came down to me saying, Vince, I just got screwed real bad. Now you're going to screw me? He goes, it doesn't matter what you say. The decision's been made. The decision's been made. I said, why did you make that kind of decision? And I said, because of the match. I said, if it was because of a bad match, you need to go out there and fire everybody here for bad matches. And the decision's been made. He just kept repeating that. And he said something about one of the guys goes, well, we had heard that one of the agents walked by you and you smelled like a brewery. And I was like, well, gosh damn, all you got to do is test me and still be in my system. If it was yesterday.
Yeah. True.
And he goes, decision's been made. And I said, what? Aren't you the owner?
Right.
You can't change that for a mistake. You can't make mistakes. You made a mistake here. But he didn't. So I was done for about 3 months. And then Curt Hennig called me one time at about 12, 1 o'clock at night. Jannetty, I got your job back for you. We're always ribbing each other. So I'm like, man, that ain't. I went into depression, bro. I went into a deep depression over that shit.
Of course, yeah.
I just sat at home and did drugs and drank and just the hell with the world. I was doing as good as I can do with my life. And I get shammed like that. Shit.
That's depressing, yeah.
There's a Curt, that. And then little did I know that, well, actually, Curt, the Chuck Austin thing had already happened, but the lawsuit hadn't yet. So, I was getting bang, bang, bang left and right. But,
wow.
Yeah, so Curt tells me, I got your job back. And I said, well, Curt, that's not funny. He goes, no, I'm serious. He goes, I'm riding in the limo with Vince right now. And I'm going to stop doing Curt's voice. But he said.
It actually wasn't a bad Curt Hennig, by the way.
That's him. We spent a lot of time together. But he had said that Vince told him on that ride that, Shawn said that, Marty was fucked up in the ring and I couldn't do nothing with him. And Curt got mad and, said, no, Shawn was the one that was fucked up. He goes, I can prove it. You can prove it. They had to call the ambulance. The hotel he stayed at the night before. Evidently, the film was the guy passed out. He passed out and fell asleep in his soup or his food or whatever his food was. And they had to call the ambulance to him. And, they got records of that. So,
yeah.
It pissed Vince off that Shawn, his boy toy, well, I shouldn't call it his boy toy, his pet project, or what, I don't know what the hell you want to call it. But lied to him. And so the way to get him back and kind of, apologize to me, I guess, uses the belt as an olive branch for me, and then punishing Shawn. Vince is smooth, ain't he? And so he's gonna have me. have me come in and beat Shawn for the Intercontinental belt. And, and he panicked. Shawn's like, he didn't know nothing about it. I didn't either, but, okay. But I knew I was coming back, but I didn't know they was going to do that with me. And so, not a big deal for me. But Shawn panicked, and he was all upset. And, he almost, I swear to God, he almost started crying. That pissed me out. That pissed me off. Why are you going to cry? It's me. you better salute me. And, Vince said, we'll see how long it lasts or something. Like, it wasn't going to, he was basically saying it wasn't going to last. He was having to pamper Shawn again. It was like, we'll get it back to you, But then again, now you're taking away from your punishment to let him know that. But
so obviously Shawn's a great talent, but I mean, could Shawn have been a better friend to you? I mean, you guys were basically brothers. You were best friends for so long.
Everybody's what they are. I mean, everybody's different. I would have thought so. I mean, if it had been flipped the script and it was me that was getting the push and all that, and that he kind of was getting shammed. Is that a word, sham?
It is, yes. Both, I believe, scammed and shammed are both words.
I would have, yeah. I would have stood up for him, or set something up for him. But like I say, everybody's different. You can't expect everybody to think the way we think, or feel the way we feel. Everybody's got their own life to do what they want with.
Sure.
I like to let people live their life, and I like for them to let me live.
Again, so in my opinion, WWE could have did a better job, let you keep the belt longer. Shawn could have been a better friend. Is there anything you think you could have done better?
No. What I was going to say, I would have made all the same mistakes, but made them sooner.
Okay.
That way you got more time. Oh, see, this is about to die. Now it's blinking at me. No, man. As far as I know, from my perspective, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I could have been a lot more professional than I was, but there was a lot of askism went on back then, probably still. And that's not me. That's not my game. That's not my route. No, I don't know if you put style in there, but no, that's just not. I can't go that route.
I hear
the Wolf told me once, if you don't have self-respect, it don't matter what you have. You ain't got shit. So, you go kissing a man's ass, you ain't got no self-respect.
Got it.
Know what I mean?
Makes sense. I do.